This conference will now be recorded.
So in our previous class, we're understanding importance of framework and implementation. And day one, your business analyst, they have to decide the complete structure. And based on that structure, they have to first log in and they have to create framework and then maybe implementation and maybe the next frameworks, whatever. Okay, so even you join one company today, so what is your duty? So once you get the laptop from your management, so you have to just ask for this URL. You should not go to them and ask for some kind of software installation. So you have to get this URL directly from your manager. And since your laptop will be already connected to that client network, you can able to access this URL straight away, and you'll be getting this login page, and here you are supposed to log in with your ID and password, and we technically call it like an operator ID. So you might be joining company as like a developer or a tester or an admin, whatever. So whoever is trying to access this application, same thing, so they have to get this operator ID created. Suppose if I am the dev manager, if I wanted to create operator ID for you, then you will say that you got one client ID. Based on that client ID, I'll create operator ID, and that has to be tagged like a developer. And for the tester, same operator ID should be created, that should be tagged like a earlier developer, this should be like a tester. So what will happen once you get the ID and password? If I log in now, so now my PEGA has to decide that this is correct operator and he should get only Dev Studio. If it is like a tester, he should be getting output screen. So everything will be decided on this login button. So you have to understand where all the list of operator IDs will be stored, what is the table associated for that, and how one SQL query is being executed on this login click, everything will come to know. And if required, we'll try to customize the screen also. By default, maybe in your office version also, you'll be getting same blue color page with PEGA logo. But some clients asks you to change it from PEGA to something like Citibank logo, and instead of this blue color, some other colors. Instead of showing one below another, maybe side by side. These kind of customizations are also sometimes will be asked. So that also we'll try to understand slowly. Fine. So now consider today as our day one. Okay. So today as our day one. That is like day one, business analyst, they have to design the application structure. Once the structure is completely done, then only, so then only as a developer you will log in and you will try to design the things. So consider you are logging here like an admin, what's that? Business analyst. Even to log in for the first time, it is asking for some username and password. No? It is asking for some username and password. So for the first time, PEGA team will be providing with some master credentials. What are those? administrator@pega.com, and password will be installed. Okay, now if I click on login, then one SQL query will be executed checking whether ID and password is correct or not, and then it has to take me to the actual Dev Studio. Okay, this is our actual PEGA tool where we will be having header, and left side is Explorer, and the bottom part is like debugging part. This is what we understood, no? Fine. So now maybe as like a business analyst, I logged in here to create applications. So my application structure can be something like this: organization, maybe one framework, and within this another framework, and maybe another framework. So these might be implementations. My structure can be in this way. So first of all, I have to log in and create framework 1 and 2 and 3, maybe 6 implementations, right? So total 10 applications is what I have to create. So the purpose of I logging here is to create the applications first. And by the time I log in, I can able to see one application already being existing. So by the time I log in now, I can see with some application name that is like PEGA platform. So what we can understand just because of this, so there is one application with the name PEGA platform which is already existing, right? Which is already existing. PEGA platform is the application name here. And as I told you, in our PEGA tool, there will be multiple things which will be automated by this time. So in the background, there are multiple things. So you can understand that there is one application like PEGA platform which is already existing. And earlier we understood like sending an email. For sending an email, send email notification is something where we have Java completely automated, no? So likewise, there will be multiple things which will be automated, okay, which are automated by this time. So in this entire PEGA tool, whenever or wherever you see which is already existing, if you see like PEGA platform is already existing, send email notification is already existing, whatever you see already existing, that is to be called as, tell me, that is to be called as
OOTB.
OOTB. Okay, so in this entire PEGA tool, whatever you see already existing, it is called as OOTB, meaning out of the box. So it is still like out of the box. So we can say like, so PEGA platform is one OOTB application. No? Send email notification is something OOTB, right? So we have to understand the usage of OOTB in your coming communications. Okay, fine. And again, in this entire PEGA tool, whatever you see or whatever you create, everything is to be called as a rule. So now I logged in here and I wanted to create 14 applications. So we wanted to create 14 applications. So in this PEGA tool, whatever you create, each and everything is to be called as rule. Okay. So if you wanted to create 10 extra applications, so those in the background or technically will be considered like 10 rules. Maybe out of this, if you are working on credit card application, maybe in credit card application, there might be 10 screens. Whatever the application you are creating now, this has to be ultimately used by the bank employees only. No? So maybe I go for a bank asking for credit card registration. There that employee, he can ask me some details. So screen number 1, 2, 3, 4 likewise. So consider in that screen number 1, there is like first name, last name, age, mobile number, collection. And maybe in the next screen, maybe it is asking for my PAN card number, SSN number, whatever. So what is happening? As part of screen number 1 design, you have to include first name, last name, all these things, no? Meaning you have to create it, right? So maybe if it looks reusable, you'll create somewhere at the top or you'll create straight away here. That is different story. So whatever you create or whatever already existing, each and everything is to be called as a rule. In this entire PEGA, everything is to be like a rule. Okay, so I can say like, so this PEGA platform application is also a rule. Okay, send email notification is also a rule. Now business analyst logs in and they have to create 14 applications, no? Meaning it should be considered like in 14 rules for that. In each and every application, we will be creating multiple things. Everything is to be called as a rule. Okay, fine. So ultimately, the purpose of this credit card application is what? So the main purpose of this credit card application is to register multiple customers now. So this credit card application will be used by a bank employee. So his goal is to create multiple or register multiple customers. So for each and every time of registration, what happens? Screen 1 should be completed, screen 2, 3, 4 till the last, no? Meaning one successful registration, it is processing all the things. It is processing screen 1, screen 2, screen 3. Nothing but it is processing all the rules. Okay, fine. So here, just to get one proper output, what PEGA is you doing? PEGA is trying to process all the rules and getting some output, no? So that is the reason this is called PEGA rules process commander. Okay, so we are supposed to call this as like an PRPC, PEGA rules process commander. So what is our PEGA tool doing here? It is trying to process each and everything and getting some output. So that is the reason this is to be called as PRPC, PEGA rules process commander. So from now on, every one of you should call this tool as PRPC tool. So the name of this tool is PRPC, not PEGA. Okay, PEGA is just the organization who is investing on this tool, nothing more than that. Okay, so if you wanted to purchase one laptop, you'll go to Chroma store, right? You'll not call that as the Tata store. Okay, we know Chroma, something from Tata organization only, but store name is Chroma, not like Tata. Here also this tool is to be called as PRPC, not PEGA. PEGA is just an organization where it is investing a lot on this PRPC tool. It has got something related to robotics, it has something related to RPA. Okay, so these kind of things. This is one such wing of that PEGA. Okay, so from now on, everyone should call this like an PRPC tool. If you call this like an PEGA tool, then people think like you don't have that complete exposure of this. Okay, so this is to be called as PRPC. So many of you, maybe by this time you have searched for PEGA jobs in Naukri or Google, whatever. So there sometimes you see like PEGA jobs. Sometimes you can see with the word keyword PEGA jobs. Sometimes you'll be seeing like PEGA PRPC, and sometimes you see like PEGA BPM, and sometimes you see like PEGA CSA, PEGA CSSA. All these are same. So PEGA jobs in the sense mostly it will be PEGA BPM, like PRPC related only. So whoever the recruiter who is trying to post that job, he might not have complete knowledge like this should be with PRPC keyword. Okay, PEGA jobs in the sense our PRPC related things only mostly. And if we see like PEGA PRPC, it is still more clear for us. PEGA BPM in the sense again same. BPM is one sector. Out of that, we are having multiple tools. From PEGA, we are having one tool. Maybe from Oracle, we are having one tool. Microsoft, IBM, APN. So, lot many things. Okay. So, PEGA BPM meaning same or PRPC tool. PEGA CSA jobs also something related to PRPC only. Fine. So, we are understanding this is to be completely called as PRPC tool. And in this entire PRPC tool, each and everything will be a rule. So now I can say like PEGA platform is one OOTB application rule. Can I use this word? Since PEGA platform is already existing application, so we can call this like OOTB application rule. And something like send email notification is whatever I'm saying. So that is also already existing, right? If that is also existing, we call it like an OOTB. Okay, so in the real time, you have to make habit of using the word OOTB. I'll give you one example, then you can clearly understand. So today you joined one company and your manager is asking you to work on this credit card application. So he's asking you to design something credit card application. Maybe screen number 1 registration has to be designed. So for the screen number 1, you are drag and dropping first name, last name, all these things. And once you submit that screen, your requirement is to send email to that customer. Okay, so after you design everything, so task is to send email to the customer. What you will do, maybe on that final submit button, you can simply call that send email notification. Do not write single line of code there. Whatever already existing, send email notification is already existing, that you can simply call it on this submit button. What will happen? One email will be triggered, then our requirement is completed, right? So fine. And once our maybe development is complete, what we'll do next, it will be taken to testing team. Ante kada. So testers they will log in with their operator ID and password, and they will not get dev studio, they will get output screen. Suppose if you are a bank employee, if you log in, will you get this dev studio? You will be getting output screen. Even tester also will be considered like the real users. So once the tester is logging in here, they will be getting final output screen. What they will do, they will test so far what you have developed. They will just simply run and check screen number 1 perfectly loaded or not. After that, they will try to check for whether email is triggered properly. Consider scenario that email has been triggered, but maybe after half an hour. So consider email is triggered, but maybe after half an hour. So can the testing team log a defect here? So can the tester log a defect here or not? As a developer, what is your requirement? On that button, click send one email. So email is being triggered. So you will be strong with this statement from your end. Now tester, what he is thinking? Maybe after registration email is sent, that is okay with them. But it is being sent after 30 minutes or 1 hour. So will they be happy with that behavior, or will they log any defect for this? Okay, tell me. Consider you are placing one order in Amazon. If you place one order, immediately you will be getting one email. No? So money will be deducted, and immediately you will be getting one email saying like thank you for the order whatever you placed. Maybe if you are getting email after 1 hour, what you will think? You will think like money got deducted, but order might not be placed. No. So there is some kind of discrepancy getting in our in users mind, right? Okay, somewhere business will be impacted, no? So here tester also thinks the same. Tester, what he will say? So functionality is working fine. Listen about the words. Tester, he will be thinking like functionality, whatever the functionality implemented to send one email, this is working fine. He will be okay with that, but he will log one defect saying like performance issue. So if something is logged now or something is being registered now, if it is getting email after 3 days or 4 days, how far this is correct? So they will be logging one defect related to performance. Our application is working fine, but with poor performance. That is what they'll say. So is this valid defect or not? 100% valid defect. Business analyst, they will support testing team only. Ante kada? So they have to support testing team. Now, one performance defect will be logged. It is not functional defect. Listen carefully. So one performance defect will be logged. So you are forced to accept the defect, right? As a developer, you should take care. Business analysts, they will not bother. Even testing team also, they will not bother. So as a developer, you have to accept the defect. Before accepting, what you will say? What you will say? You will say like on that button click, I have just used that existing email ID, existing send email notification. So if you have written any coding there, then you will take the responsibility. So there should be some problem from the code what you develop. But here there is nothing coding. No? On that button click, whatever is already implemented, you are trying to call it. So you will try to escape from this defect saying like, this is OOTB behavior. How far I will be responsible? On that button click, whatever existing, I'm just calling it. Meaning OOTB nature only, no? Meaning existing behavior. So something like OOTB behavior. How far I will be responsible for this? Better contact PEGA system team or PEGA support team. Okay. So ultimately you should be fixing it. That is different story. But you will try to communicate in this way. This is OOTB nature where it might not be completely related to our development team. Let us try to put a call with PEGA support person also. So he will be saying some other tips to remove cache or whatever. So you have to understand that word like OOTB in this kind of discussions. Maybe let me give you one more example. So here, consider the same requirement. You are asked to design screen number 1 for credit card portal. So what you will do, or your business analyst, they will be giving you some requirements, asking like show one image to the left and something like image to the right, first name a text box, last name a text box. This kind of design they will be providing you. Now maybe client is saying like, okay, client is saying like instead of showing one image, welcome to HDFC Bank, instead of showing this image, why can't you make one rotating image, graphical design kind of. Okay, understanding, right? So my business analyst has earlier come up with one approach with static image, and as a developer we have dragged and drop and implemented the design. Once our design is done, after that demo will happen. We'll discuss about this process slowly. Business analyst, they have to give demo with the client, demo for the client. So client, if everything is fine, he'll say okay. If not, he'll give some extra suggestions. So please change that image. Earlier I thought this will be good, but now let us change it. So all this will be demo suggestions is what we'll call. We'll explain this slowly. So now maybe in this demo suggestions, if your client is changing the requirement to rotating image, some kind of graphical. So if that is the case, we are not having that automation in PEGA. So PEGA, everything is not automated. Okay, because this PEGA application will be used by our internal employees only. No? The application, whatever I'm developing, that will be used by our internal employees only. For that internal employee usage, what for this graphical and rotating images? If this application is being across everyone in the world, everywhere in the world, then putting some extra styles, that is meaningful. But PEGA is meant to design only internal applications. Only internal employees of that bank or some organization will be using. What for this much of styling? That is the reason PEGA has not automated each and everything. Whatever required for that, everything is there. Whatever required, everything will be there. Now, if client is pressurizing us to include that kind of rotating image or whatever, then your business analyst, they have to convince the customer, client, saying like this is not OOTB, that you have to say. So what is the terminology or usage here? Your BA, business analyst, they have to come, or they will be straight away sitting with the client saying like this is not OOTB nature. Okay, this is not OOTB behavior. So if you wanted to implement it, we have tried extra coding, so which may reduce the performance. So do we really want this or not? These kind of thing they have to convey with the client. Client may not have that technical knowledge, right? So what his perspective will be, he is spending enough amount to get the PEGA license, and he is spending enough amount for our development team. So he wants everything whatever he is looking for. So your business analyst, they have to convince the customer that this is existing, or this can be achieved, or this cannot be achieved. Now, if client is still asking us to achieve this, so he can put pressure, no? Since he's efforting this much amount, so it's completely up to his wish. So if client is asking, I want this rotating image, then what should be happening? Your business analyst straight away he'll come to the development team and he will ask our developers to implement this. Then we'll again try to convince the business analyst saying like this is not OOTB nature. Okay, if we could not or if you still want this, we have to write coding on top of it. Some extra customized coding should be written. Okay, so if anything out of OOTB, we have to go with coding, extra coding. But here, as a developer, you are not authorized to write any code. అదే కదా మనకు కావాల్సింది. Okay, so if there is any requirement other than OOTB, generally that should be achieved with coding. But you are not at all allowed to write any coding on your own. You are not supposed to write any coding. Because if you write coding, you may get the output. You may design in one way, maybe the next developer can design in another way, third developer can design with other way, right? Ultimately output will get, but first person may design with 10 lines, second person with 20 lines, third person with 100 lines of coding. Out of all the things, that there will be only one best standard. So it is not like everyone follows the best standards, no? It's not like everyone follows the best standards. That is the reason again PEGA support team comes into picture in this case. Okay, if client is asking us to do anything other than OOTB, you have to drop one, or you have to raise one service ticket with the PEGA systems team, saying like client requirement is this and we are not having any OOTB, so what do you suggest? So if you raise one service ticket, then PEGA system that support person comes into picture. So that person, what he has to do, he will just try to analyze everything and he will say like there is something OOTB in the new feature, in the new version, so please try to use this. Okay, so he will try to explain the new features if we don't know. And if he is still okay that there is no OOTB, maybe PEGA systems person also finally concluded like we cannot achieve with OOTB, then he will consider that service ticket, and based on that ticket some coding should be developed from their end. Ultimately coding should be written only by the PEGA systems team. That you have to understand. You should not write single line of coding also. If you write coding, you may get the output, but performance, that is like complaint score, will be reduced. Again you have to answer multiple people, why are you writing coding? So why are you putting extra load on existing design? So complaint score got reduced just because of your design. So instead, why can't you raise one service ticket with the PEGA systems team? They will take care of that and they will develop everything with the best standards from there, and what for headache for us? These questions they come. Okay, so this question comes into picture. Okay, so you have to understand something about OOTB as the keyword usage. Adhamatunda? Fine. So now we can understand that PEGA platform. So the purpose of our logging here is to create one new application, but by this time I am seeing something like application as PEGA platform already existing. So we are supposed to call this like OOTB application. OOTB application. Fine. And here at the header you can able to see something like Dev Studio, where actual development work will happen. Okay, so consider if you are logging in the previous versions of PEGA. As I told you, 8.1 or 8.2 till 8.7 or 8.8, all these eighth version, this is to be called as PEGA Infinity. As I told you, this will be like Infinity version. Infinity version here in the sense 8.x. It might be 8.3 or 4. So maybe you join one company today and that project might start at 10 years back. If that is the case, by that time 7.3 might be the latest. If you join today, that project might be still in 7.3 only, no? Maybe from past 10 years, they are working on this development and that is still with 7.3. And if you log in with the operator ID and password, there you will be seeing little changes compared to our discussion. You will not find like Dev Studio there. You will not find Dev Studio. You will find something like Designer Studio. Okay, you will be finding something like Designer Studio. So what is happening there? Maybe in the seventh version, in seventh version we are having it like 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4. After 7.4, our PRPC thought like we have to add multiple features in the next version. So 7.4 there, and they wanted to add lot many extra features. For that, what they are doing, they have included everything and they launched it like a direct 8th version. In 8th version, there are multiple features, so they gave the name like PEGA Infinity. And maybe in the 7th version, in that version, we can just design. Okay, I can design everything, but there will not be anything related to deployment. So deployment is also part of our complete project, no? So for deployment you have to go with some other extra integration. Okay, but here in the 8th version, even deployment, everything is completely automated. That is the reason from 8th version you'll see like Dev Studio. In the previous versions of PEGA, you'll be seeing it like Designer Studio, where you can just design the output, but all the things will not be there. But here in the 8th version, everything is ready. Dev Studio is what we are seeing. Fine. And in the old versions of PEGA, here you have to see something application name, no doubt. Here you will be seeing something like PEGA rules. From 8th version, what are you seeing? PEGA platform. In the previous versions of PEGA, maybe till 7.4, you will see like PEGA rules. So what is the difference showing like PEGA rules there? And now why it is showing like PEGA platform? This you have to understand. So you'll understand this maybe after 5 minutes. Now I logged in here to create one new application, and this is the navigation to create new application. I'll just click on that arrow, select the new application here. Then it will ask for what is the application name. Okay, if I select this, I'll get a screen where it has to ask for what is the application name and what is the type. That's it. Application name in the sense maybe banking might be the framework name, and type will be framework. Whatever the application you create, it will ask only two things: application name and type. Fine. Now if I just enter the application name and select the type, click on next, 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 my application will be created. No? My application will be created. So consider I'm creating one application maybe for credit card. So I'll use this navigation. Application name is credit card and type might be implementation. No, in this case, type will be implementation. So one credit card application got created, consider. And in that application, you are supposed to design screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, screen 4, everything. Similarly, you are creating one more application related to loans. And for this also, maybe some 10 screens are created. Okay. Consider credit card application and loans application are moved to bank server. So now bank employee 1, he will be using credit card application, and second bank employee, he has to use loans application. So if credit card representative, if he is trying to register 10 customers from his end, all the 10 customers data should be stored into some table. No? The background, there should be database table. All this credit card customer details should be available in table 1. Maybe all the loans registered customers data should be available in table 2. No? Separate tables, right? So what are we understanding? Each and every application should be having one database table. Everyone agree with this statement? Every application should be having one separate database table. So for credit card application, there should be table. For loans application, there should be one special table for that. Maybe for health insurance, whatever. Every application should have one special table for it. What are we understanding? If I am trying to create one new application, background one application rule has to be created. Everything is a rule, no? If I select this and enter name like credit card, then for that one application rule has to be created, and for that application there should be one database table should be there, and between these two some kind of mapping or connection should be there, and this application may be in future to be connected to some framework. So what are we understanding? By just launching this wizard, if I click on this, I'll get a screen. If I launch that and click on next, maybe fraction of, it will not take more than a minute, fraction of 30 seconds or so, maybe seconds. So for creating an application, we know from the front end maybe 2 or 3 steps only, but in the back end, table creation, rule creation, connection established with JDBC or Tomcat, whatever, some thousands of actions will be there. Some thousands of actions. We will not bother about all the things, just what PRPs is doing here, that we are trying to understand. So with this two-step action from the front end, in the back end it is doing some multiple thousands of actions. So in order to help each and every application to be successfully created, if I just launch this, one application will be created, no? So for an application to be successfully created, that application should get lot of help from this PEGA platform. So what are we understanding? To create one application, okay, for one application to be created, there are hundreds of actions in the background. For all these 100 actions to be successfully fulfilled, my new application will get help from this PEGA platform. Okay, so in other words, PEGA platform is having some reusable rules where it is helping our application 1, and this PEGA platform will be helping maybe our application 2 or application 3, 4, whatever. So whatever the new application we create, to get that successfully created, this has to get help from PEGA platform. Everyone clear with this statement? So can I say like PEGA platform is helping with its rules to our child applications, no? PEGA platform, it is helping with its rules. Every application is a rule, right? So PEGA platform is helping with its rules to all our child applications to get those successfully created. So this is what the importance of PEGA platform. And now just keep that statement aside. Now let me give you one more thing. Consider this as our organization, this as our framework, maybe this as our another framework, and implementations. Consider this as our design. Okay, this as our design. So this is framework 1, framework 2, and maybe implementation 1. Implementation 1. So what is the actual purpose of the framework? So what is the actual purpose of framework? So framework will be having some reusable things where it can help its childs, no? That is what we understood earlier. So framework is something where it is helping its child applications. So keep this statement aside, and the earlier statement is like PEGA platform is one application, OOTB, no? So PEGA platform is one OOTB application where it is trying to help its child applications to be created successfully. This is the statement. So by joining these two statements, can I say PEGA platform is acting like a framework? So the purpose of our actual framework is to help its child applications. And here the purpose of PEGA platform is to create new applications. Meaning PEGA platform is supplying its rules to get the new application to be created successful. So can we join these two statements and say like PEGA platform is acting like a framework? Is this true or not? No, no? So PEGA platform is one OOTB framework application. We can say like PEGA platform is something like OOTB and it is a framework since it is helping all the child applications to be created successful. Okay, so now whatever the application you create, you might be in a requirement to create framework 1 or 2 or implementation, whatever the application we are trying to create, every application should be inherited from PEGA platform only. Okay, so I'll just use this navigation to create framework 1. Again I'll use this maybe for framework 2. Again I'll use this maybe for implementation 1, implementation 2. So whatever the application we create, each and every application should get help from PEGA platform only. So PEGA platform is acting like OOTB framework application. ante ardhamavutunda? So this is acting like OOTB framework. This you have to understand. So if this is that important, okay, if this is that important, in the older versions of PEGA, as I told you, you will not find the keyword PEGA platform. What you will find there? PEGA rules. The older versions of PEGA, if you just log in as an administrator, here you will be finding Designer Studio, and here you will be finding it like PEGA rules. So what is happening? Their PEGA rules is acting like OOTB. No? Consider my project got started on 7th version, and there if I log in and if I'm trying to create new application, my application will be created from PEGA rules. By the time ade kada. So PEGA rules. There PEGA rules is acting like a framework application for all my applications. Consider my project started in 7th version and we are continuing still. Now my management thought like we are having advanced features in the 8th version. So I wanted to upgrade. So my project, whatever it is still in the 7th version, we wanted to upgrade, meaning we wanted to move this complete design to 8th version. So my management, what they have to do? They have to get 8th version and they have to move this complete set of rules from 7th version to 8th version. 7th version to 8th version. In 8th version, what is the topmost application? What is the parent? PEGA platform. And in the 6th version, what is the topmost? Sorry, in the 7th version, what is the topmost? PEGA rules. So all my applications got created from PEGA rules only, no? So parent, grandfather is something and structure is according to that. Now if I am trying to move from 7th to 8th, in 8th version there is some little change in the design. Grandfather got changed. So the topmost one got changed from PEGA rules to PEGA platform. In that scenario, all the applications, whatever I am having in 7, if I am trying to move to the 8, will my structure work or not? Will my structure work or not? Hmm? How it will work?
Work.
Hmm?
It will
How it
work.
will work? How it will work? So you can understand, maybe I'm having 10 applications. So PEGA rules, consider 7th version. PEGA rules, below that maybe framework, below that framework 2, below that framework 3, maybe 10 implementations. All my applications are started from PEGA rules only, no? Now, if I just wanted to move all the things to 8th version, it is not like I have to create again framework. It is not like again I have to create implementations. So if it is like creating everything from beginning, who will upgrade? No one will move to the next version. Whatever the effort we are making from past 10 years, if it is of no use, who will jump to the next version? No one will go. So we are supposed to simply move the things from version 1 to version 2, I mean like next version, and there you should be getting an option of advanced features also. Okay, so if this is the scenario, you wanted to move all the things from 7th to 8th. In 8th version, there is no PEGA rules, no. Then how your structure will design, how your structure will be working up? How your structure will work? So consider this is 7th version, PEGA rules. Okay, and here framework and another framework, maybe implementations, all these things. You wanted to move this complete design to the next version. In the next version, PEGA platform is what we are having. So PEGA platform is what you are having. You are moving this completely here, meaning PEGA rules below that, this structure will be formed now. So is there any relation with PEGA platform or PEGA rules? Both are different parents, no? Then both are different. Then how this will work? How this will work? There is no concept of PEGA rules in the 8th version. How our structure will be supported there? Understanding my question? How our structure will be supported there? Okay, so if this is the design, will anyone move from 7th to 8th, or will anyone move from the current version to the next upgraded version? No one will. No one will move. Then what is the point of upgrade? What is the point of PEGA launching latest versions? So point here is to PEGA should launch latest versions with the latest features, and who are all the clients? They are supposed to jump to the latest versions with very easy way, in a easy way. It is not like everything should be complicated. So point here is the application. Maybe in the 7th version it will be like PEGA rules, and in the 8th version I'm seeing like PEGA platform. Now let us just try to check some information about this. Okay, in the 8th version I'm seeing PEGA platform. Now let us just try to check some information of this by just clicking on this one. If I click on this, what will happen? I'll get its definition. Definition in the sense some information about that. Let me click on this. So if I just check here, what are we seeing? We can understand for this PEGA platform, there is something like ID. For every rule to be processed, as I told you, each and everything is a rule. PEGA platform is a rule. Your framework application is a rule. Maybe your first name, last name, whatever you create, everything is a rule. So for each and every rule, there will be one ID as well as some name. So if you join one company as a PEGA developer today, then you will be providing all your details with your HR, no, on the day one, and your details will be inserted like a record into their database table. There will be database table. There you can see all the record. There your record should be inserted. Fine. After that, if you go to your manager, you will be asking him for laptop. Okay, day one you have to ask for your laptop. Your manager, what he will do? He will just try to open some portal, and he will be just selecting laptop request, and he might be having one drop down where he can see all the employees tagged for him. Maybe he can see employee name 1, employee 2, employee 3, these things. So there he can get all the employee names, no? So there he will be getting all the employee names. Suppose if he is selecting your employee name and clicking on submit button, what should happen? One laptop request has to be raised with that network team. So one request will be raised. What is happening? Based on the name what he is selecting, one request is being raised in the sense background processing everywhere it will happen based on employee ID only, right? Even though your manager is selecting your name, clicking on submit button, background processing or request creation, everything happens based on your employee ID. So if you are trying, or month end you will be getting some salary. So during salary calculation, it will be checking for how many leaves you applied and how many extra days you worked on. So considering all these things, some amount will be finalized for you. So this amount calculation or leave calculations, whatever, everything will be based on your employee ID only, no? So just like if I wanted to call you in person, I'll call with the name. But background processing and everything will happen based on IDs only. Even here also same. Even here in PRPC also, each and every rule will have an ID as well as some name. So I can see PEGA platform as a rule. And what is the ID for that? What is the ID? PEGA rules is the ID. And what is the name? What are you seeing here? What is the name you are seeing? PEGA platform. What is the ID? PEGA rules. Okay, PEGA rules and a word Vinnama. So in the 7th version, there will be something like PEGA rules. That is what we understood. Consider you logged into 7th version. There, Designer Studio will be showing up for you, and the next application name what will be? PEGA rules. So if you just click on arrow there, and if you click on definition, okay, just imagine. If you click on definition, you will be getting some screen. What might be the ID there? What might be the ID? PEGA rules only. What will be the name? What will be the name? No, no. So in the 7th version, if I just check here, PEGA rules will be the thing showing up. Now what I'm asking here, if I'm clicking on that, if I click on definition, I should be getting some similar screen. And what should be the ID showing up? So you will be seeing ID as PEGA rules and display name also as PEGA rules. Display name also as PEGA rules. So ID, as I told you, each and everything will be processed based on the ID only, no? Okay, so consider in the 7th version, you are clicking on this arrow, created 10 applications. Created 10 applications, meaning PEGA rules, below that framework 1, below that framework 2, framework 3, 4, 5 likewise. So this application is being processed based on this one connection, this connection only, no? Connection or processing, everything will happen based on ID. Okay, everything will be based on IDs only. What is the ID for this? What is the ID for this application? PEGA rules. Okay, fine. Now, in order to make this upgraded perfectly, PRPC what they are doing, they are just, or consider this is 7th version. Now I wanted to move to the 8th version. If I move to the 8th version, the same design will be moved here, right? Meaning here it will be PEGA rules or framework 1, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. So here, if we just understand, for this application ID is also PEGA rules. PEGA rules. So is there any difference between this design and this design? As of now, nothing. What PRPC has done for this application, they have just updated the display name. So they have just updated the display name. That's it. So if they can just update the display name, then background processing is there to be anywhere affected? Background processing everywhere with the based on IDs only, no? So connection and everything is related to PEGA rules. ID is same. So they can never update or they can never change ID. So because a lot of processing involved with that ID. So just to make clear that our latest features has got multiple features, they have just updated this display name, that's it. So if you wanted to still update display name, you can do lot many things. It's up to us. So display name can be changed n number of times, but in the background ID can never be changed. Okay, so whatever you seeing like PEGA platform here, this is just a display name. Okay, so you join one company today, so one employee ID 123 will be generated for you, and based on that employee ID you will be getting health insurance applicable, no? Meaning health insurance might be from ICICI Bank for you, and your employee ID has to be in their database also. Maybe there will be something like cab facility applicable. So with your employee ID, there is something in their database. There might be food coupons applicable for you. With your employee ID, there is something tagged there also. So if someone is requesting for to change the employee ID, just understand in how many places this will be affected. Similarly here also, if PRPC is trying to update this name, if they're trying to update the ID, then how earlier design will work? Everything will be impacted, right? It is not that easy to change. It is almost like creating everything from the beginning where no client thinks of going to the upgraded version. Okay, so here just somewhere display name can be modified. So if there is something like spelling mistake for the display name, you can request for name updation. Or if a female employee is getting married, sometimes they request for surname updation, no? So those things are encouraged, but they cannot ask for change the employee ID or update the employee ID. So based on this ID only, lot many connections will be there where it can never be changed. So here what are we understanding? In PEGA, everything is like a rule. So this is to be called as PRPC. Each and every rule for processing, it will be having with some ID and display name. Display name is just for the namesake. So it doesn't carry any importance. You can just update display name for multiple times also. But ID once created, it can never be updated. It can never be updated. Okay, so why I'm saying this much is like, in the rules whatever you create in the future, okay, you'll be creating maybe 10 applications and you'll be creating something related to first name, whatever, you'll create some thousands of rules. Whatever you create, there should be something like ID, and for that there should be a name. And in this process you'll understand ID and display name sometimes same, sometimes different. So here you can able to see both are different, right? And if we just check for this thing, send email notification, this is also a rule. You can see this ID and display name both are same in this case, and in this case both are different. So there will be rules where we see ID and name as same, and sometimes ID and name as different. Suppose if I wanted to show something like PEGA platform hyphen number one, something like this kind of with special symbols. So this will be accepted, but in the ID it will not. Suppose if you are creating something for the fresh, ID also will not be created by that time. So you can just customize the ID, but ID will be having some restrictions. It should not be accepting space, it should not be having special symbols, it should be having only this length, all these things. Okay, slowly we'll try to understand. So for now we are very clearly understanding what is OOTB, what is PRPC, and what is the importance of PEGA platform, and what is the structure design, all these things. Okay, so each and every point has to be very keenly to be observed. Okay, since we are trying to elaborate everything, you have to be in a position to do any kind of requirement in the future. So in the next 3 months or 4 months course, you have to pay complete attention. Each and every point is very very important, and every one of you should be in a position to do all the assignments. So no one can do those assignments out of our training course period. So only our students they can able to do. So by just seeing those assignments, lot of people from other institutes or whatever, they could not able to do those, and they are again seeking for some help. You should not be in that position. From day one you have to put rigorous effort, you have to learn everything. Okay, this is what expected. Okay, and the assignments whatever I'm posting, you may not be in a position to do it right away, but you should be just understanding how the requirements might be. Okay, and how the exposure for that will be. So maybe tomorrow if I'm discussing something about registration page, there you have to correlate the assignments. So for this, how the validation can be, and how we have to make this accepting only 50 characters or 100 characters. So correlation should happen. So that is the reason I'm trying to put that in your WhatsApp group also. You can just follow that. Okay.